Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer of the DRF.com. Formulator race of the day for Thursday, July the 27th, race number 9 at the Spa. We're going 6.5 furlongs for New York bred stakes horses. Let's take a look at the field for the John Morrissey Stakes. This is a wild and woolly event, to be sure.
Yeah, this is a great race. It's a big field, first of all, so you just know that you're going to have a ton of different ways to go. There's a lot of pace in this race. Trips are going to have a lot to say in the outcome. There are plenty of interesting horses at bigger prices. This is a great race.
And we start the race off with a millionaire, the number 1 Weekend Hideaway, 7-2 on the line, fresh off a gate-to-wire score in the $200,000 Commentator Stakes. I like how Louis Saez timed that. He tried to open up at just the right time, turning into the stretch, and he had just enough to hold off Diversify, who came back to win with 100 buyer.
Yeah, how great is this horse? I mean, all he does is run. He's 7 years old now, but he's still out there doing it, and he ran one of his better races last time. Now listen, he had some things go right for him in the Commentator, if only because he did get relatively loose on lead. I thought he went a legitimate pace, but he did get loose on the lead in that race. He caught a sloppy track, which he just loves. So there were things that helped him in that race, but he still ran another bang-up race, and the turnback's going to work for him, and he's got speed but doesn't need the lead, and that will work for him. A lot of things to like about this horse, except that maybe he's the favorite, which I don't know if you want in this race. I don't know if the rail's a great place to start from.
He won this race in 2014. He's just a hard hitter, 12 lifetime wins, 4 wins lifetime at Saratoga. I'm curious to see where Weekend Hideaway is going to be placed from the Timeform US perspective. They've got him sitting in third, and he can sit that comfortable spot. I understand this pace projector completely because the number 2 Bustin' It is a very fast horse in razor sharp form.
Yeah, right. It's true that he's most likely to just be gunning it from the lead and then just seeing if he can just get out on the front here and take this field at least pretty far. I'll be surprised if he can take them all the way down. He's in really good form. He's cut out to be a nice horse, and it didn't happen for him. He's won 4 starts in a row against weaker horses. It just feels to me like in this race, he's finally in a race here where they can keep up with him early, and I think it's going to make all the difference.
That's the key. Will they put heat on Bustin' It? It seems like he got away, especially last time off the claim with sort of an easy lead on the turn, but he's won 6 out of his last 7 starts, and he's going to be in front. The number 3, Australenka, trying to have a second career now for David Jacobson. We remember him with Todd Pletcher, and he made some money for Todd. I wonder if he is at his best at Monmouth, because if you notice, he's always seemed to run well there. That decathlon behind El Deal was a good race. El Deal's a very sharp horse. Last time out, he got a really nice trip in a race with a fast pace. He sat in behind the 2 duelers, but he did some running to take down Defer Heaven, a horse that's won 21 times in his career. I think that's another Navarro product. I like this horse's tactical speed. He ran well in this race last year, shipping in from Monmouth, and I wonder if the pace scenario works to his advantage. At a price, Australenka is interesting. I'm using him at 15 to 1.
I agree with all that stuff, and the other thing I guess you have to like about him is that there's a chance he just gets the same trip in this race that he got in the last one, where there was a big pace battle in front of him and he was able to sit it out and then run him down. And I think he will get that trip in this race. Of course, this is a much bigger field with a lot of other different horses around, so he's going to have to work, I think, the right trip, and perhaps a perfect trip if he's going to beat this field.
Brimstone, like Australenka, trained by David Jacobson off the claim most recently. This horse got away with a nice, easy lead to win for 62.5. Now, he's got speed. It's quite possible that he'll be out there pushing Bustin' It. It just looks like a tough task for him to push that horse through fast fractions and then hold off some quality closers.
Yeah, this just feels like he's one of the few horses in this field who I just feel like is in maybe a little bit too tough. I mean, he just doesn't really have that one race that's sticking out off his page that says he can go with these horses.
Gypsum Johnny has been on the board in 23 of 30 lifetime starts, and he took advantage of a race that was washed off of the turf most recently on July the 7th. He did have to work against a solid enough runner in El Kabir. When you see him, though, in races like the Saginaw, races like the Commentator, he's taken some shots against these horses. He's run well. He just hasn't been able to get over the hump. Do you think at a sprint distance it could be a different story?
Yeah, I do, because I think he's a much better sprinter, and they tried those last 2 stakes, and listen, he ran fine in both of those races, but they were at distance that might push him a little bit. This is going to be better for him. I'll say this, but I think he's going to need probably to catch every break in the world to come out on top in this race, but he's pretty good. And if Linda is going to run him in this race, I would take him pretty seriously, because she doesn't just enter her horses in these races thinking, you know what, we'll just take a shot. She doesn't take that many shots.
I'm using Gypsy Johnny in any kind of multiple race wager, and I'm also going to use a little bit of the 6 Fish Trap Road. This is a solid New York bred. I'm not sure I love the blinkers on for Brett Calhoun, but I think this horse is just dirtied up. Last time out, he was in against Limousine Liberal, who's a legitimate grade attitude type. He caught a sloppy track to boot that he doesn't have to love.
Right.
The distance of the race 2 starts back, I think, beat him. This horse doesn't want to go a step over 7 furlongs. The Ali Sheba was just a ridiculous spot. In tough against Awesome Slew, tough against Whitmore. I mean, this is a fairly legitimate class drop for a horse that won the Dwyer last year in 2016 and can run with these horses.
Yeah, you're right about that. You know, you make some good points too, because I think if you just pull his last 5 races, the first 5 starts of this year out of his form, you can look at him and say, boy, he hasn't come back that good as a 4-year-old, but I think you're right. There are ways to look at those races and really make legitimate excuses for them. And then you start going back to his 2016 form. He was pretty good. I think he fits really well in this field.
Certainly has done well against New York breds in the past. The 7 is one of my favorites. That's Breaking the Fever. He has won 17 of 28 times. He had a 6-race win streak snapped most recently at a very short price at Finger Lakes. And his last 3 races, all 3 races this year at 5, the buyers have come back a little slow. We'll know this horse early. And the form he's in right now, this seems a little tough.
I agree with that. The last 3 races, only 78s. They don't inspire a lot of confidence for a horse who you know can run faster than that. You don't love to see him lose at such a short price last time, and he worked. Listen, the trip wasn't great 2 starts back in the Barker. Boy, he worked really hard to beat that field, too. I wonder if he's in the same form that he used to be.
The number 8, Candid Desire, I'm willing to throw his last race out. I don't think this horse shows up when the track is wet.
Agree.
He is better on fast going, and he might get the pace he needs in here. He is a horse that probably has to run a career best from a buyer speed figure standpoint, but he's going to be a big price, and a fast pace could work to his advantage. I'd use him underneath.
Yeah, I would use this horse as well. I think he's a little interesting. I give him the same excuse you do for the last race. It's interesting to see that he's sort of turned himself into more of a closer. I guess that could really help him in this race. Garasiaka's done a great job with this horse. He's one of the, bigger priced horses who I am using in this race.
I think Fish Trap Road, I know Fish Trap Road doesn't want to go a distance of ground, and I think when you get I Love Lulu out to a mile or beyond, it just doesn't work out. What did you think of the trip last time out for this horse?
Well, he didn't run that well in that race. I mean, he was just sort of on a chase the entire way there, and it didn't work out. And I agree with you. I don't really think he wants to go a mile anyway. I think he's a way better sprinting. I like that. The thing I like most about him is I think he's really improved since Rudy claimed him. I really do. I think it may not look that way necessarily. This horse ran a great race 2 starts back in the Affirmed Success. That was a really fast and competitive pace. And not only that, it was a day where you probably didn't want to be down towards the inside, and that's right where he was, chasing the fast pace the entire way. He took the race to Weekend Hideaway that day, put him away. That was the toughest of tough beats, getting closed down by the 1-run closer, Celtic Chaos, in that race. I thought he ran great. I think if he can run that race back in here, I think he can beat this field. And I know he's 7 for 13 lifetime on wet tracks. I don't even think this horse likes a wet track that much anymore. He's 1 for his last 6 when the track is wet. I just feel like he might be better at this stage of his career on a fast dirt track.
9 lifetime wins for I Love Lulu. Good tactical speed. Arad Ortiz takes the mount for the high percentage Rudy Rodriguez barn. 15-1 on the morning line. The 10's Papa Shot. Linda Rice wavering as to whether she's going to run Papa Shot in this spot. She's going to get a turn back in distance is Papa Shot, and he's done well sprinting in the past. Last time out he chased that sharp horse Diversify. It looked like he was being outrun completely on the turn, and he just clunked up for second.
That's what I thought. He clunked up for second, but it was still another good performance.
Fast race?
I don't know where that race came from. 2 starts back, a legitimately fast race in blowout fashion. We'll see if he can keep that form going. I don't mind him turning back in here.
My concern, though, is if he was run off his feet on the turn of the Saginaw, what's going to happen if they throw a 44 and change at him here early? He could drop 10, 12, 15 lengths out of it, and that's a lot for this horse to do. But he is in career form for a great trainer. Formulator fact for some long shot. The 11, T Loves a Fight. Trained by Michelle Nevin, taking over from the retired Mike Hushin. Here's T Loves a Fight's formulator fact. Past year, older horses, turf to dirt, 32%, a 286 return on investment. This is a consistent 3-year-old who's just found a salty spot against older horses.
It's going to be tough for him to win this race, but it's worth pointing out that Hushin got this horse really good before they took a shot on turf last time, and Hushin was pretty candid about it. They were just taking a shot there. There's nowhere else to really run him. They're going to try a tough spot for him here. As a 3-year-old against these kinds of horses, it won't be easy. He's been in good form on the dirt, though.
Celtic Chaos beat 4 of these common foes when we last saw him win the Affirmed Success from dead last. And we've got a positive formulator fact for a red-hot trainer in Kieran McLaughlin. Past 5 years, older last-out winning dirt sprinters off this sort of moderate layoff, 42%, a positive return on investment, and I think you can make the argument that this horse is the best closer in the race.
I think he probably is the best closer in the race. That was the case last time when he sort of took advantage and he won the Affirmed Success, but he still ran well. That's 2 wins in a row for him, closing from last and getting up and getting it done, and he'll probably have the opportunity to do it again. I think the race could set up well for him. I couldn't bet him back in this race. He just got way too lucky to win last time.
I would have to use him in multiple race wagers because he does fit in this race. Kieran's just going great guns right now.
Yeah, that's true too.
I mean,
something to keep in mind.
Fire. Let's take a look at our top selections for this year's John Morrissey Stakes. You're going with the price. I Love Lulu, 15-1, getting back to a distance he really appreciates.
Yeah, got to give him one more chance, especially at the price he figures to be.
I want to see what Ostrolenka can do with a stalking trip. I'm hoping it's not the Monmouth that's woken him up. I'm hoping that maybe Jacobson's kind of figured him out and he can sit into a nice spot in the 2nd or 3rd flight on the outside. He should be a good price in this race. I'll go with Ostrolenka. It's a great betting race. The Morrissey at Saratoga, your Thursday Formulator Race of the Day, where you got free Formulator past performances on the Race of the Day event page on DRF.com. If you're betting the Spa card on Sunday, if you sign up to DRF Bets, you get 10% win place takeout on 10 select tracks, including Saratoga, all summer long, plus a $300 cash bonus. DRF.com/take10 is where you need to go for all the details. Approximate post time for the John Morrissey, race number 9 at Saratoga on Thursday, 5:40 Eastern. Good luck.